I'm Seth, and this is the Legend for Life podcast. Hey, today we're going to be talking about what does it mean to be a man. And so this is going to be the first episode, and by the first episode we're going to kind of start at the very building blocks. And so what does it mean to be a man? I think of action, help, provider. Men take action, men take risks, men are explorers. And when we boil that down to one thing, I think men take the first step to help. Just think about like policemen, firemen, soldiers. Being a man means if you see, somebody spilled something in the cafeteria, is it being a man to stand up and clap at them and make them feel like a fool? I don't think so. I think being a man is running over, grabbing some paper towels, and, wiping it up. It's about being a provider means more than a bank account. I think that's even like to say, making more money equals, being more manly. Like, since when? You can be a bad guy that makes lots of money, and all of a sudden, are you more of a man? I don't think so. So when I think of a man, I think of somebody that people can look to, and they can rely on you to be a provider. Now, for families, well, that certainly does mean a provider in ways like making money and stuff, but a lot of guys out there, just figure 16, 30, 40, I don't know. I mean, these guys aren't necessarily, married. What does it look like to be a man for them? Because, they don't have anybody else to provide for necessarily. Well, I think that it means taking the first step to help the people around them, and a lot of times that means at work. Or, how many times do you see people on the side of the road, something's gone wrong with somebody's car, like their tire or their battery, and then you see these guys pull over, this truck guy. This even happened to me once. I remember I was doing a trip, well, not a trip, but like a short drive with my buddy, and my car just stopped. We were at a gas station. I think I was filling up with gas, and the car just stopped, and it wouldn't start again. And just some random guy pulled up in his truck. He jumped the car to help us out, and he was just some stranger. He even didn't have his jumper cables with him. So this guy in this truck, he saw us in need. He knew, I don't have my jumper cables. Let me go get them. So he went and got them and came back, and then stayed with me and my buddy until the car actually started. Now, to me, that's what being a man is. It's not, going to the club, dancing with the ladies. Come on. Like, how is that manly? Like anybody, well, not anybody can do that, but I don't see what's manly about that. Yeah, when you think of man and being manly, you think of helping, provider, and like I said, that's not always money, but and another aspect of help, taking the first step to help, I think, is for us, sometimes it means helping other people, and sometimes it means helping ourselves, but then also accepting help. And what do I mean by that? So I've got this article here about this little boy. I think his name is Alfie. Some kids were making fun of him because he's got not blonde hair. He's got he's a redhead. He's got red hair. Let's see if this says like what they were saying to him. Well, it doesn't matter. But yeah, kids were making fun of him. It says bullies used anonymous messaging app write things about him. What does he do? And he's just some little boy, right? He's not what you would think of. If somebody's picking on you, get jacked and beat him up. That's not an option for this little boy. So, or call the principal and get the principal to do something. Not quite, because I mean, yes, you can do that. That is an option. But I think the first step, like I said, is helping yourself. And, this little boy, Alfie, apparently he likes to write. And so he wrote a poem to his bullies about saying, like, really? You're going to make fun of me because of my red hair? So when I'm talking about being a man, like, what does it mean to be a man? I think, what does it, obviously he's a boy, but by taking the first step to help and to help himself, he's got a masculine trait. Once you can do that, you can stand up to your bullies, and if something doesn't change after that, well, guess what? Then yeah, go ahead. You can accept the help from the people around you. I think the first thing you've got to do before getting other people involved is to do something yourself. We're talking about being a provider, taking action, helping people. What does that mean for our Christian faith? I've got a verse here, a passage here that I think is pretty helpful, and it's all about being a Christian leader, being a leader in the church. 1 Peter 5:1-4. So I exhort the elders among you, as fellow elder and a witness to the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that is among you, exercising oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. And so I think there's a few things that come with this. A lot of people are leaders, and they don't realize it. I mean, obviously you've got your boss. Like if you're a boss, then yeah, you're a leader and you know it. But I mean, there's team captains. There's think about this, if you're knowledgeable about something, so you happen to, like even tennis, right? If you know the rules of tennis, and you're just out there with your friends, you're the guy out there explaining the rules to people, or even like a board game. Think about this: if you know the rules to a board game and you're explaining it to the people, it's your job to make sure that you explain the rules correctly so that the game can be played well and so that it can be fun. Don't think that you're not a leader because, you're not a boss, or, maybe you're not team captain, but there's probably something that there's some way that you're a leader, and it can be a zillion different things. But what does that have to do with the passage? Here's what I think. Don't do it all for your gain. So not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering. A lot of times, people in leadership roles will kind of do that. They kind of get something from it, as far as, oh man, I love bossing people around. I haven't experienced this a lot, but I'm sure there are people out there that have. And I think that when it comes to what does it mean to be a Christian, and what does it mean to be a Christian man who's trying to strive to be more manly or and closer to God, I think it means, boom, embrace your leadership and do it in a way that isn't for your gain, but boom, move into the next thing. Take the first step to help other people, not for shameful gain. I'm not helping you to help myself. I'm not, being domineering. Let's move to the next thing. I want to be an example to the flock. I explain the rules of tennis to you, be an example to the flock. Like, think about, nobody likes to be led by the jerk. Nobody enjoys when somebody explains the rules to a game to them and is like, how did you not get that? You're dumb. Nobody likes that. People like being led by people that are helpful. And, part of being a man is don't be a jerk. And why do we do that? Well, we want to be a good example, like Jesus was for us. He was sent by God. He was a perfect example to us on how we can live. Obviously, we don't do that, but he gave us kind of a roadmap, and so it's kind of a legend. He's the real legend, but he kind of provided us a legend to reference, to live by. Obviously, we're not going to be anything like Jesus, but when we're a good leader, when we do the first step, when we take the first step to help people, we can show the love of Jesus to those around us. And that comes from accepting our leadership roles, embracing it, not doing it for our gain, not trying to make ourselves look awesome, and being loving as we do it. Don't be a jerk. And so I hope this has been helpful. As far as what does it mean to be a man, what does it mean to be a Christian man. All right, so before we wrap up, a few other topics that I wanted to go over. I think a lot of guys today struggle with finding fulfillment, and you know what? I bet you if I am a really good athlete, I'll find fulfillment. I bet if I hook up with a lot of girls, I'm going to find fulfillment. All these sorts of things, people think that they'll find fulfillment. And I just wanted to read something that I found online here for you. And here goes. TV talk shows present us with an almost endless array of celebrities who tell us that the greatest good in life is personal fulfillment. Many of us get the impression that wanting something or wanting to do something makes it right, and that we have a right to pursue whatever we want regardless of the consequences for ourselves or others. Why do you believe that this notion of personal fulfillment is good or bad for both individuals and society? And he had an answer, and the answer is this. Personal fulfillment belongs to the wealthy, those who are so stinking rich they have no idea what to do with their time. For the vast majority of people on Earth, personal fulfillment involves the daily struggle to find sufficient food for your family to eat. And here's the thing. I think that is so wrong. I find fulfillment in God when I'm praising Him, when I'm reading my Bible and learning about God's world and the things that God has done for me. That's where I find fulfillment, and ultimately that's the only place that we find fulfillment. And I want to read something here, some passages from the Bible for you guys that I think are really helpful. The first one is Hebrews 13:5. Keep your life free from money and be content with what you have, for He has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And He here is God. So, if you're a guy who's thought to himself, man, like the guys that I was talking about earlier, as far as, oh man, I thought X thing was going to fulfill me and I feel just as empty as I did before. Or, oh man, well, my bank account has a certain amount. Or, man, I've got a sweet looking apartment. I've got posters all over the place. Why do I still feel empty? Well, right here we're seeing keep your life free from love of money and be content with what you have. Because because you've got God, and he will never leave you nor forsake you. And there's another passage that I wanted to read here, and that kind of goes further on that. But whoever drinks of the water that but whoever drinks of the water that I will give him will never be thirsty again. The water that I will give him will become in him a spring of water welling up to eternal life. And that just goes to kind of continue on the first thing, is if you are somebody who's thirsty, what am I doing here? Why am I on this planet? Well, you're here to glorify God. And maybe you haven't started that yet. Maybe you think that that's stupid. I don't know, you could. But I'd say, hey, like, are you fulfilled? Are you feeling fulfilled, or are you feeling empty? And if you are, I'd say, hey, come on along, give it a shot. Start reading a Bible. Start learning about what's there, and seeing what it might have for you. The last thing, or a few last things here. If you have any questions or comments that you wanted to share with me about the podcast, you can email me. The email is legendforlife, and then the number 47 at gmail.com. So it's legend, LEGEND, FORLIFE, then the numbers 47 at gmail.com. And I'm thinking about starting up a Bible study, and it would be on Discord. So if you're interested in that, please send me an email, and we can kind of go forward with that and see if there's interest there. And the last thing I wanted to do, because I definitely want to build a community and discussions along the way. I have something here, and I'd like to hear what you guys would say to this person. So he says, I just had a basketball game tonight. We lost, and I'd scored 0 points. I basically had no confidence, shot once, and passed a lot. Right now, I just feel like I have no confidence, and I don't want to play basketball. I feel sad that I didn't score and didn't shoot or play much. I have another game tomorrow, so can anyone give me advice or a talk to get me hyped and get confidence? So I'd like to hear what you have to say to this guy. What would your advice for him be? How would you help him along? Give him any words of advice? Also, you could answer the first guy that he was asking about personal fulfillment. How would you answer his question? So feel free to send me an email about those things, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about the two questions and a possible Bible study if you're interested in that. So yeah, all right, we'll talk to you next time.